In an extraordinarily significant move, President Trump is vowing to label the Muslim Brotherhood as a foreign terrorist organization. Well, TBN's Erick Stakelbeck is here to unpack this massive news. So, Erick, why is this so significant?
Well, Raj, the Muslim Brotherhood is the granddaddy of them all when it comes to Islamic terror groups. When you think of al-qaeda, for instance, Ayman al-Zawahiri, Osama bin Laden, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, all these al-Qaeda kingpins, before they formed al-Qaeda, before they planned 9/11, they belonged to the Muslim Brotherhood. So did the not so dearly departed leader of ISIS, Omar Abu al-Baghdadi, was a Brotherhood member before ISIS. The Brotherhood has been the gateway to jihad for decades. And Raj, give you another idea of how violent this organization is. Hamas self-identifies itself as the Palestinian branch of the Muslim Brotherhood. And it's an organization, a movement that's dedicated to global domination. That includes right here in the United States. We've seen the Brotherhood make great progress in Europe, and they want to bring that model to America. It's no coincidence that we've seen a real increase in mosque building in the United States since 9/11, including where I'm sitting right now, Texas, where, Raj, in the past 2 years alone, 48 new mosques have opened. Again, this is not a coincidence. We see the Brotherhood's strategy and blueprint really stretching worldwide, including right here in America.
So why did this take so long, right? There's even, a bunch of Arab nations that have outlawed the Muslim Brotherhood. Why is this just now happening with the United States?
Great question. And President Trump was going to do this, I believe, Raj, if he continued in office beyond January 2021. This was in the works, a federal ban of the Muslim Brotherhood. As you mentioned, look, Jordan, Syria, the UAE, they've all banned the Brotherhood, as has Russia and several other nations. But in America, it was going to happen. Remember, Trump was on the road to doing it. Now he's done it, of course. But under the Obama administration, the Brotherhood in America was never stronger. We're talking about those front groups, the Council on American Islamic Relations, CARE, the Muslim American Society, MAS. There's a bunch of them, Raj, and they were guests at the White House under President Obama. President Trump flipped the script. Now he's back in office, and in less than a year, he announced yesterday he is going to designate the Brotherhood as a foreign terrorist organization. And I think what really moved the needle here, Raj, in the past few days, Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas, announced that the state of Texas was banning the Muslim Brotherhood and CARE, the Council on American Islamic Relations, that Brotherhood front group that I mentioned. So I think Greg Abbott, it's been in the works for a while, and Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, mentioned they were considering it back in August. But Greg Abbott making this move, I think, put it into overdrive. And now President Trump apparently is going to sign this into law.
So you mentioned a lot of what the Muslim Brotherhood manifests in the Middle East, but maybe here at home, how is this more than just an Islamic nonprofit, right? What is the actual goals? What are they actually doing here in the United States?
I would describe the Brotherhood as terrorists in suits. And Raj, I've interviewed Muslim Brotherhood leaders. I wrote a book about the Brotherhood called The Brotherhood way back in 2013, warning about this and their strategy. These are guys, and from spending time with them face to face in the same room, interviewing them, they wear suits. They are Western educated, well-spoken, very eloquent. They come off as very moderate if you don't know the true agenda. And that's the goal here. I've compared them to kind of termites burrowing in to a host society. And Raj, what they do is they'll get jobs or they'll gain influence in academia, in the media, in the educational system, at the governmental level even. I mentioned a minute ago how these Brotherhood front groups were guests at the White House during the Obama years. So they kind of ingratiate themselves into a host society. And a big part of that is to build and establish what I'd call self-segregating Islamic communities. Think of Europe right now. Think of London and some of the places in London where it doesn't look, and Dearborn, Michigan. Exactly, Raj. Great point. Dearborn, Minneapolis, we see it. Here in Texas, where I'm sitting right now, again, 48 mosques in the past 24 months alone have opened up. Something's going on here. And then you have Zohran Mamdani as mayor of New York City. This is the strategy. slow and steady. And with these enclaves, like a Dearborn, the goal is for them to be kind of self-segregating. And they've perfected this in Europe in places like London, Paris, and Berlin. And the goal is to bring it here. It's a state within a state almost. That's the ultimate goal for the Muslim Brotherhood. And again, they chip away. And a key point here, I mentioned earlier how al-Qaeda, ISIS, they come out of the Brotherhood. At the end of the day, Raj, they all have the same end game. Look, the Brotherhood, ISIS, al-Qaeda, different tactics. Al-Qaeda, ISIS, they want to kill you now, blow you up now. The Brotherhood's playing the long game. Patient. We'll do this through legal means. We'll do this through the political process, but it all ends up in the same place. The return of that Islamic caliphate and Sharia law for one and all, whether we like it or not.
That's a buzzword that I feel like a lot of people almost laugh at, scoff at, right? Obviously, we're not in the 7th and 8th century. No one's trying to retake Spain or Dar Islam Israel, or, no one's trying to, conquer Europe. Like, you guys just need to relax. It's just immigration. There's just movement. This is not some sort of master plan. But obviously, I know you personally have written books on this. I mean, this is what you've dedicated a large part of your life. So maybe in closing, Erick.
Yeah, very much so. This
is the ultimate goal. I mean, not just, one or two crazy people. Is the ultimate goal of this to basically conquer the West? Or should people say, okay, that might be a couple crazy clerics in the Middle East, but that's not what's actually happening here. What is the ultimate goal in reality?
That is absolutely the goal, the conquest of the West. And it's not just a few crazy clerics in the Middle East. We have video after video of clerics here in America talking about that very thing, whether it's Michigan, California, even here in Texas, New York City, clerics saying, yes, the goal is eventually to make the United States into an Islamic state. Now, obviously, this would be a long-range goal. It would take a long time. A big key there is that mass migration, Raj, that you mentioned. And speaking of Sharia, Islamic Sharia law, Greg Abbott, the Texas governor, said just a few days ago that the state of Texas is investigating 2 Sharia courts in the Dallas area. So we could say, well, it's overblown, but, you got to get onto it and get aware about it before it becomes a full-blown problem like we see in London and Great Britain in particular, and France as well. They waited too long. Now they have a full-blown crisis on their hands in Western Europe. The strategy of mass migration, then setting up those kind of self-segregating separate communities in the host nation, that's the goal in America. But I'm very encouraged, Raj, that President Trump seems to realize that, and he's going to designate the Muslim Brotherhood. And Greg Abbott, again, God bless him, got the ball rolling here in Texas.
With a lot of voices online that are saying a lot of crazy things. If you're watching this, I cannot recommend enough to plug into what my brother Erick Stakelbeck is doing. Watch Stakelbeck tonight on TBN. Your YouTube page is just look up The Watchman. Is it still called that?
Still The Watchman, yeah.
Honestly, I love you like a brother. I always use the last few seconds just to tell you how much I respect you, how much I value your discernment and your wisdom. So again, if you're watching this and you want more in-depth analysis, more insight, check out Erick on all of his platforms. He is one of one. But as for now, God bless, my friend.
God bless, Raj. Thank you.